Alright, hello and welcome to another video in the Road to Top 100 series. We've done pretty good in the last 5 games. We've gone 6 games, I should say. We've gone 5-1. Lost a game with Slanesh against. Oh, that was the game that I put on the channel. With it's the only game I've lost against Alfredino with my meme build, just getting absolutely deleted by Deathwind Globadiers or Mortars, I believe. I don't remember. But here you can see we've got ourselves a pretty cool matchup. I am running Tomb Kings because I auto-rolled that, and we're playing against Cathay. So over on the Tomb King side, you can see that I've brought Grand Hierophant Cathay. He's just going to be spam casting to get the army-wide heal, and he's going to be dropping some sick beats downwind. What a sick model. He's backed up by 2 catapults. We've got the Chosen of the Gods, the Ashabti Great Bows, Skeleton Warriors, King Nikesh's Spears, and then 2 units of Warriors with the Blessed Legion of Fakt? Dude, I'm never going to try and say that again. In any case, on the far side, we've got a dragon-bladed Shogun Lord. This lady, turns out, has Talons of the Night and Ancestral Warriors, and we'll get to see that come into play in a little bit here. They brought some great cannons. I totally faked them out, came up on the high ground, kind of gave them a hard time. They brought a bunch of Crane Gunners, the bane of my existence, and just a shitload of halberds, with a few warriors interspersed in. Almost like very little peasant fighting force, so this is a pretty elite force, lots of armor. Makes sense, because I mean I don't have a lot of armor piercing, right? Unless I start to take my big monsters and stuff. Yeah, so let's see how it goes. Can I check my reserves? No, can't check my reserves in a replay, but we'll talk about that as they come out. So I kind of misplayed this a bit early on. I started pushing everything up. I was like, oh, I'll just get some cheeky snipes and maybe take out these 2 units, secure the high ground, and then move on with my life. You can see I'm summoning in a Tomb Scorpion here as well. Don't really know what the thought process there was, because I really didn't think about taking out the Lord at the time. Though this guy actually fucks against single entity models, so you'll see that I pull him back here in a bit. But yeah, we move up the Ashabti, they start taking their pot shots, and then I realized that I just made a giant mistake here. Because it turns out that they decided to bring both Crane Gunners and Cannon, which is the right call, up to the top. And I don't really have an answer for either of those, right? Like, I've got these 2 catapults, which you'll see are going to start kind of firing down the way here, because we want to start taking out their infantry. And we're trying to just kind of whittle down the Shogun Gun Lord. Now, at the time, I didn't actually check that that this was an Ancestral Warriors build. I should have had a better answer for the Shogun Gun Lord. You can see I summoned in some carrion here, but it's too late. You'll see why in a sec here, as this gate to the afterlife pours in. I really need to have better decision making. You can see that they've brought their Crane Gunners in a position where they can just crossfire me to death regardless of the angle that I stand at. I really hadn't made a very intelligent decision about what to do with these units. You can see I'm kind of changing my mind between shooting at the Shogun Gun Lord, who's now getting the hell out of dodge, and kind of turning around to fire at the infantry, who it turns out we really haven't put any value into. And so you can see me just trying to throw these guys back in the trees here. They have a pretty commanding lead over these bottom 2 objectives, and at this point I'm sweating pretty hard. My Carrion's just kind of trying to mess with the Shogun Gun Lord. You can see that they summoned in some of these bad boys, the Great Longbow Riders, because they want to come get these Carrion off my Shogun Gun Lord. Luckily, and this was a little bit unintentional, and I think this is part of what won me the game, spoiler alert, was I got my infantry on the point just long enough to capture this, and I made a hard decision to kind of pivot and go for the bottom objectives after they had committed. You can see they've committed so much of their resources to the top, and so you'll see that like literally everything I have starts to move down towards the middle. We essentially just kind of moved the Screaming Skull catapults out of the area, and had Grand Hierophant kind of mess with the Ancestral Warriors, just because we knew they were about time behind, right? We really just wanted to get them out of there so that we could keep getting value out of artillery. So now you can see we've got our Ashabti moving down towards the middle here. didn't really have a great target for them. I mean, there's like all these infantry blobs, and you can see that for some reason I'm still targeting this lord. They're bringing in more ancestral warriors, and at this point I'm just kind of like, shit, I need to not have these guys stuck fighting these guys. It took me a little second and a half to realize this, but you'll see here in a sec we pull them back. Luckily our archers aren't too impeded, so we're still getting some good value into them. It turns out carrion don't trade very well in the Longbow Riders. Makes sense. 2 carrion costs about a third of a Longbow Rider unit. A little bit more than a third. You can see that they're starting to pull their forces off of the right victory condition here towards the middle to deal with me. And I've summoned in some Eyes of the Desert to try and deal with the Longbow Riders, because once the carrion die, I don't really have a good answer for them, and they can kind of just go and harass whatever they like. So we kind of ended up getting stuck into an all-in on this point, because they really just flooded the field before I could get everything out of the way, especially with these Ancestral Warriors just shutting down my ability to kind of move towards the middle. The one mistake they did make here is they leave 1 unit of Jade Warriors here, and I kind of faked the push here. I wanted to get on this point. You can see he's pretty confident that he has stuff there, and I'm kind of just trying to make him think that I don't have a lot to deal with at that point yet. He's got a lot of halberds. Really hard for me to get value out of these large units in melee with these halberds kind of harassing. And you can see that the crane gunners are still doing a really good job here. I tried to shut them down with some skeleton warriors, but he brought in the Jade Lancers to counter. Really nice play by my opponent. So yeah, we're really just trying to accrue value here. Unfortunately, in the replay it doesn't show it. I kind of wish that it did. We're really having a lot of trouble accruing value at the moment. A great Talons of the Night. I don't know how much value they got here, but they literally just deleted like 3 units. The Longbow Riders now try to shut down the artillery. I really don't mind this. My artillery at this point have done a pretty good job. I mean, they haven't accrued a ton of value, but they've almost made their value back. And I think more so than just raw value is just the effect that they have on leadership, right? Like the fact that their infantry are just constantly routing means that despite not getting a huge monetary value, we're still just doing great work with them. So now you can see he's kind of making a bit of a mistake here, getting overzealous with his Jade Lancers and my Sepulchro Stalkers, who are literally designed to just like eat these guys for dinner. Let's see if we get any really good animations here. Nope, just pure deletion. Cool. And they still have a very commanding lead over these 2 spots. At this point, I know I need to make a push here, and so you can see I'm just kind of moving my Nehekar horseman onto the point. He probably at this point thinks this is fine, because obviously I don't have the capture rate to deal with it, but you can see that the second Nehekar horseman here is coming in, and we're just going to do the old sandwich maneuver and take care of it. It turns out 3 carrion, still not very good at dealing with Great Longbow Riders. I am throwing all the buffs on them. Cathay is just like, let's see here, yeah, we got ourselves a Nehru's Incantation of Protection to try and give these guys a little bit of staying power, and immediately after that I believe I cast I can't remember which one it's on here. I think it's on these guys because they have the most health. We'll cast Jaff's Incantation of Cursed Blades, just to try and give them some armor-piercing damage here, because, you know, at 110 armor, our carrion really aren't doing jack all. I wonder, I'm a little bit curious, how much armor-piercing strength the carrion actually have? 15! These guys actually hit like fucking trucks. Like 46 melee defense, 59 weapon strength for 380 gold is a little bit stupid. And you'll notice that I just like spam some of these guys in every time they die the whole fight, and that's probably part of why I was able to shut down the range units so effectively. You can see Eyes of the Desert here. They've now routed halberds, some crane gunners, and we're really doing a pretty good job. Our sandwich working out really well here. We've cut this unit in half. It's down to about 100 models, but that's gonna they're gonna rout here in a second. And this point we'll have a commanding lead over. We've also brought in some carrion to kind of just reinforce defensively. The middle points, we're winning the fights here. I'm not really sure how. They had 1 billion halberds on this point, and we literally had nothing but large units. You can see our Ashabti summon went down here. Turns out Jade Warrior halberds get crumped by Ushabti, like absolutely crumped. They give 0 fucks about anti-large. You can see that, so a little bit of a cheeky play here. You can see that Cathay is just getting right out of dodge here. And we've basically conceded this top point. You can see that I'm not too far behind on value. I've just captured 2 points. You can see that I'm now consolidating my forces towards the bottom, and I'm just kind of letting them have this point, just because they're nice and slow foot infantry. They bring the longer riders in to kind of deal with my archers and Cathay. You can see that I've cheekily thrown some Nehekara horsemen in here. They actually handled pretty well in this situation. I did put down Kathep's, what is this thing called here? Doesn't even show it as a ability list. That's the real question. I don't even see it here. I don't think so. It really doesn't show it. Oh no, it's right here. Sandstorm, brought down a Sandstorm, just trying to accrue a little bit of value on these guys. And now you can see I've brought back the Eyes of the Desert to just start spam targeting. They are trying to bring some halberds in. They really want to deal with my Sepulchral Stalkers here, because they're just going to delete those Longer Riders. I think they do end up getting just a ridiculous amount of value by the end of the battle. I think it's like 2,500, but for now, we're only at 1,100. Tomb Scorpion, also surprisingly good against halberds. Celestial Dragon Guard, no less. My real worries right now, though, are these Iron Isle Gunners that are coming out of the back. I'm not too worried about the Shigan Gun Lord. She can't really sustain in combat, and she doesn't really have any Winds of Magic left. I mean, between Talons of the Night and 2 Ancestral Warriors, I don't know if she overcasted, but she must have. She spent at least 42, or 46 actually Winds of Magic without an overcast. So you can see that my carrion here just trying to hold on to the Dune Dragons, and we're really just trying to whittle them down here. We brought our Chosen of the God back, and we're just kind of spamming infantry and carrion in to try and reinforce the point. They don't really have an answer for this point, and I make a really cheeky play here. You can see that they have a lot of space here with their deployment zones are back here. They can bring in Cav, but I win the battle 10 out of 10 times against any of the Cav they bring in because they don't have their like highest egg Cav. And so we're just going to go straight for the Iron Hails, and then we're going to break off here and go after these Crane Gunners. You can see that the Jade Lancers come in because they're like, oh fuck, we need to intercept here. Really good play by my opponent. More so born out of necessity, but as a backup, you can see my carrier just here to kind of help mix it up. And this was a big mistake by me. Cathay single-handedly just took half this unit's health out while doing almost no damage to the Iron Hails because of how dispersed they were. Yeah, so you can see Celestial Dragon Guard now. I don't know what took these guys so long to come down here. I think they were a little bit worried about a counter push because of how kind of effective I was at taking this point. But now the Celestial Dragon Crossbow starting to make their way downtown. I honestly thought these guys were like peasant archers, and so I literally ignored them for so long. And they kind of decimate my army. These guys crump 1,200 value. I don't know how much this guys cost. It's probably close to 1,200 gold. Yeah, man. Turns out that being Celestial and part of the Dragon Clan is a lot of gold expenditure. So Dragon-Blooded Shigan Lord, not a ton of value, but she is crumping. You can see that my carrier here just having a really hard time just existing. They're kind of just dancing. Kathep's beats too good. Like, he's just such a good DJ. He just can't help themselves. Talons of the Night going down, great work. All the talents, like I blobbed up way too hard here. Admittedly, I didn't expect so much Winds of Magic on the Shigan Gun Lord's part. Like, I don't think she really has. Does the Shigan Gun Lord have anything to kind of? Okay, so she can. I guess every time she casts, she's augmenting Winds of Magic. She's got Mastery, all that jazz. I don't know what kind of items she has. I guess she's got Arcane Conduit, so she's just always bringing those Winds of Magic back. You can see I bring some carrion over here, and I'm like, oh, these are peasant archers, they'll be fine. I'll just put one carrion on them. Oh, or not. I, like, honestly, like, I just let these guys free cast for, like, the entire battle, because I'm like, they're not doing anything. But meanwhile, they're, like, deleting everything I have. Hashtag Celestial Crossbow things. So you can see he's bringing in some peasant horsemen here to deal with my Nehekara horsemen. He's going to have a bad day. But I do let him get the charge because I'm not really paying attention. Although the Eyes of the Desert immediately run over to kind of help interfere with their operations, and we got our carrion back on the Crane Gunners back here. Little slight mistake by me. These Crane Gunners are just having the opportunity to absolutely free cast on my Eyes of the Desert, and so they're pretty much done here. Again, my shop T getting absolutely destroyed. I have these guys kind of fighting each other for a while. Turns out Celestial Dragon Crossbow can trade fantastically with a shop T, despite being chosen of the gods. And so the nice thing is it takes about 6 hours for them to kill the Ashopti, and about 6 hours for the Ashopti to kill them. So At the very least, we're just kind of holding them up. You can see now that they've really pulled pretty much everything off the point, right? They've got their Jade Warriors here, and at this point you'll see that I start to do my cheeky counter push again. I love switching sides. Like I absolutely, like one of my hallmarks is just like a big rotate, just like huge shift in strategy. And so I can't remember what I summoned here, but we'll see in a second here. You can see I've got my Carrion coming in. Yeah, and aside from that, just such a scrappy fight. Close battle, we've just slightly got the lead here, 1046 tickets to about 1,015 there. But yeah, we have a pretty commanding lead here, and I think in terms of value trading, we pretty much have the win. They did bring their cannons up at some point to try and like aim them down the center here, and we just routed them off pretty easily with some Carrion. We do finally get the routes on the Celestial Dragon crossbowmen, and I swear to God, I am so bad at the sick beats. I just put them on my own units at all times and just like give my opponent free value. We brought in the Screaming Skull catapults because at this point they're probably running pretty low on resources, and we want to just kind of get as much value as we can against their units. And so at this point they don't really have a lot of answers. The Shogun Gunlord is just going to die if she comes into my backline. There's no question about that. They do make a pretty concerted push for this point. I'm actually surprised at how well Two Kings units held up here. Because we've got Jade Lancers coming in. Obviously this unit is really damaged, and again with the bunching up, look at this value, look at this, like I suck at this game. But you can see the Halberds coming in, Talons of the Night just absolutely decimating those units, and here we go, here's the cheeky reversal. So we just let them kind of allocate a ton of resources at this point, and we come around the backside and have some fun against these Jade Warriors, because they really don't have anything that can threaten, right? These guys are going to take about a minute to get up to this point, and so at the very least we take it, and then because they're spawning in all these units to deal at the top, we'll take it, and then we'll just leave, and then these guys will have to run and try and take it, and then that just gives us that much more value in the center. So very much some hit and run tactics here from me. And I wonder if the play against Tomb Kings, essentially because you have so much infantry that's so susceptible to take cover here, I wonder if the play is like lots of cannons against Tomb Kings. Just bring in the cannons, blow down the catapults, blow down the Ashanti, nice and quick, like 2 to 3 cannon units even, I don't know. Maybe 2 cannons and a Crane Gunners, like that should be more than enough to just absolutely decimate, because the Crane Gunners have more range than the Ashanti do, 275 to 255. And these guys will just delete Ashanti. And you can see these Carrion, man. Literally MVPs. Carrion are a little bit undercosted, I think. That's probably why Two Kings have such a high win rate. But yeah, I'm a little bit desperate here, and I know that these guys will just crumble and they won't rout. So we're just going to throw them right into these horseman units. You're going to see in a sec here, I start to pivot these guys towards this objective. And at this point, I think my opponents, I don't know if they concede or if the battle's just guaranteed lost here, but you'll see that we bring the Carrion back to deal at this point. They are, have we taken this? No, they still have a double cap actually, because they did manage to get some Jade Warriors that we didn't route effectively back on the point. Oh, but they don't have enough people. Okay, they did keep this point. Interesting. You can see this was just such a close game. And all I really had to do here was hold the middle for that last bit. But we're still up on a 2-1 for caps. They do, yeah, they do still control this point. And you can see the last second here. We pivoted, we brought our Sepulchrals and the Stalkers back. And just so cheeky, you'll see that I kind of just alter the positioning of these guys because we're running so hard to get to this point before it gets capped. And you'll see I just changed their formation right about now just to get them... Oh, did we do it? Did we do it? Yeah, we just switched their formation just to get them to kind of rotate. And you'll see that we maintain it and we get the capture rate right before the victory. But, I mean, that could have been pivotal, right? If they take a double cap and we were just a little bit farther behind on points, could have been pretty nuts. But yeah, overall, lots of value from the Shogun Gunlord with her Talons of the Night by the end of the battle. I think she about paid for herself, which as a lord and not dying, I mean, that's pretty good. We just gave the Crane Gunners so much value, the tanks didn't accrue much. We didn't really give much for the Jade Warriors, these guys did pretty alright. We did give their Long Marauders a lot of value, but it was mostly Carrion, so we're not too worried about that. not too much value on the bowmen. They paid for themselves. Very little on the infantry. They kind of just got shit on the whole battle. Really, we didn't get a ton of value on these guys, but you know, after 2 summons, these guys did about a 500 value apiece, which makes sense considering how well they shut us down there. Despite these guys getting absolutely wrecked, just ultimate value here from this Ashapt unit, and this one almost pays for itself. Cathay, as always, more than pays for himself. Sepulchral Stalkers didn't really do too much, but they did pay for themselves. Let's see here. These Carrion, man. I mean, they cost 380 gold, right? And they're back as quick as they leave. So it's like, you know, they're probably about paying for themselves, but they just do it in such strong fashion. And Peasants is always sucking. Jade Warriors really good value. Fuck man, I should have attacked these guys and actually routed them off. I didn't realize that they were this unit, but it's just me not paying attention, I guess. But yeah, we just absolutely shut down the Iron Hail Gunners. Not even a single volley, which is good because they probably pay for themselves at that point. But yeah, and that is GG. Thank you all for watching. We're up. What position are we in? Like 430 or something. So we got 330 to go. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.